everybody, this is Jewelyn. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my home here in Santa Monica, California, and welcome to my quarterly series that I put out on my channel, my plant tour for summer 2019. It is a 4-part series. I have about 400 plants in my collection, give or take. So I like breaking down my collection in front of my home, my bathroom, inside of my home, and my patio. And at the end of each video, I will be doing a giveaway celebrating my plant tour as well as my birthday month for the month of August. I am going to the Philippines next weekend for my birthday. So I definitely wanted to go ahead and film these plant tours before I head out of the country. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share with you what the front of my home looks like, which is including my plant shelfie in front of my home as well as the plants living along my little walkway here before you enter the patio. So I hope you guys enjoy the plant tour and stay tuned. At the end of the video, I'll go ahead and talk about the giveaway and how you can go ahead and enter. Also, thumbs up the video because I'm feeling like myself. Finally, I'm able to glam up and do plant content on my one day off that I haven't had a day off in over 2 weeks. So I'm really excited. It is a beautiful sunny summer afternoon here on a Wednesday, and I'm looking forward to head to the Philippines. So stay tuned for hopefully some cool Filipino content, as well as on my vlog channel. I'll be vlogging for Travel with Jewelyn. So let's go ahead and check out what the front of my home looks like. I do apologize in advance if you hear any construction in the background. My neighbors are doing construction and there's nothing I can do about that, and these plant tours need to be filmed before I leave out of the country. So let's go ahead and check out what's living currently in the front of my home. Alright, so here we are in the front of my home, and I will be going over all of the plant babies that are currently living in this section of my home. There's a lot of sun-loving babies in the front of my home. As you can see, there's a big tree that's over my home. It's a big pine tree, which is the tree that I'm always complaining about. And the bougainvillea, which I really love having the bougainvillea, but it does create a lot of mess. So let's go ahead from right to left and discuss what's going on in my collection. Here I am on the right corner of my plant shelf, which is right next to my greenhouse. I'll discuss what's going on in the greenhouse after my 4-part series. So my Eve's needle is doing really good. I got this from Pasadena Roseville Flea Market. Love it a lot. I do have a smaller baby that Catherine gave me that's not living on the shelf. Really fun plant to have, super easy. One of my favorite plant babies that I got from the Pasadena Roseville Flea Market, believe it or not. So the Eve's needle came from Pasadena Roseville Flea Market, I want to say last year. I went with Catherine and her husband, and then we went back again this year, and I got this epiphyllum from there. I really love epiphyllums, and my Eve's needle is living in a planter that I got from Walmart, and this one I believe came from Chinatown. And I love epiphyllums. You'll see it throughout my collection. Some of them are living in the front of my home, and some of them are living in my patio. Some aeonium cuttings that Catherine gifted me, and I have it in a terracotta planter. I do have a pretty large aeonium collection. Most of them were plant cuttings from different friends, so that's pretty cool. So here's a really fun mammillaria that I got from Las Vegas, well, over maybe 3 years ago. It's a really fun one that Catherine and I got from last year's plant show for Los Angeles Cactus and Succulent Society. If you haven't watched that Come With Me and Plant Haul, go ahead and check it out. It was summer 2018, and Catherine and I actually got matching plants. I really love the aesthetic of this. It's a slow grower, nothing much has been happening. I got these euphorbias, I want to say from Las Vegas, if I can remember. This is a thrifted planter, and it's growing back its leaves. At one point they fell off and I got really stressed out about that. Another fun euphorbia cutting that I probably got from one of my plant friends. I have it in a thrifted teacup that I drilled a hole in that I got from Arizona. I have a bunch of them. And next to it is another cacti baby that I got from Las Vegas. I want to say maybe about 2 years ago. Really love it, low maintenance. I have it in a terracotta. So here's another plant show baby that I got this year. So that was a really fun Come With Me. It was also Carrie's first time going to the plant show. So I hope to go next year, and I plan to go hopefully every year. It's really fun, and I think I get a lot of cool babies when I go to these plant shows. I love going to plant shows and getting babies because where my collection's at, with about 400 plants, it's hard to find new and interesting babies when I go to plant nursery. Here is more aeonium cuttings that I want to say I probably got from Tanya, and I have it in a thrifted creamer that I got from Arizona. So I love blue and white. You'll see that throughout my collection. Last baby I want to talk about in this corner is going to be a really fun crested, I want to say Eve's needle. I'm not too sure, but it lost all its hair and it's not looking that great, but I still love it. Got it from Las Vegas, I want to say about 3 years ago, and it's living in a kobo wood planter that I got from the 99-cent store, I want to say here in Santa Monica. So this came from San Gabriel at one of my favorite plant nurseries. I recently went there with Carrie for the first time for her. 3 of my subscribers has cuttings from my mother plant. I definitely don't mind taking from my mother plant if it doesn't ruin it. So 3 cuttings got taken away from this mother plant, but still looking cute. I love the print on it. It's very abstract when it comes to color and just the way how it grows. I really think this is so cool, and one of my favorites. You see it on my top 10. Cactus babies, euphorbias are very fun. Little zigzag euphorbia, and it usually has more yellowing on it, but this is the current look of it. It's like my go-to planter for succulents and cacti. I just love the aesthetic of it with the plant. So it's living here in the corner. My crown of thorns, euphorbia that I've had in my collection now for a couple of years. I got this from my flea market in Los Angeles, which I love going to. I've done come with me's there, got so many cool babies from there, and a lot of actually interesting cool babies. So you never know. I love going to my flea markets, farmers markets, to see what plant life is like and what they have to offer, and I feel like I love going plant shopping there versus a nursery. It's living in a thrift planter that I got from the Bay Area when I was living there, and it's in this plant baby featured in my recent 10 plants that are currently blooming in my collection. So blooms are still going. They last pretty long compared to my other blooming babies. Next to it is one of, I want to say, my fairy castle cactus. It's living in a cute dragonfly butterfly planter that I got from Eagle Rock, which was a really fun come with me that I did with Catherine. And I want to say we got our staghorn ferns there at the same time. And this has been living in this planter its entire life. Really low maintenance baby. Don't really do much for these guys out here. All of my babies in the front of my home get water twice a month, max 3 times a month, just depends. I just take a look at them, and throughout the year, for the most part where I live here in Santa Monica, it's kind of like summer all year long, and I don't winter my plants, so about 2 to 3 times a month they all get water. This is an aloe that Carrie gave me. So far so good. It's living in an ice cream planter. My Stapelia, I want to say I got this one from maybe Pasadena Rose Bowl Flea Market. Hasn't bloomed on me yet, but I'll be patient. I don't know the exact ID of it. I have to look it up. I probably looked it up for a top 10 video, and I got this from Las Vegas about 3 years ago. Love it. It has a very minimalistic vibe to it, and again, it's from this same nursery that I got the planters from. I got this planter with the other one here that my fairy castle cactus is living at from Eagle Rock. These planters work great for cacti babies. But yeah, he's been in my collection for about 3 years. He's been featured in my top 10 probably for last year, and I love looking at him. Another aeonium cutting that I probably got from Tanya. It's living in an ice cream planter. Kind of having aeonium spread out throughout the plant shelf. I know I could gather them up and have them in one planter, but I think they look cute spread throughout. I don't know his ID off the top of my head, but this is a plant baby that Catherine gave me. She got it, I think, from a nursery that we went to in West Hollywood, and she did a split with me, so thank you, Catherine. It's still doing good. I see some kind of little growth happening up there, and every time I look at him, he looks like he's dead, but that's just the way how he looks. So do you remember I went to a plant nursery very close to Santa Barbara? I can't remember the city name, but it was one nursery and no dogs were allowed, so Ebby stayed in my car with the windows down. It was actually raining, I think, and this was the one plant baby that I got. I believe this is some kind of epiphyllum. What kind, I don't know, and it hasn't done anything much than look the same since I got it. So slow growing, and we'll see if it ever blooms on me. Living in a terracotta planter. One baby that I don't like to touch. This is a pink cushion. It's living in a unicorn planter. I love all white planters, so you'll see that throughout my collection. And I don't like touching this plant at all because there's lots of pricklies on it, and I believe I got some on my fingers. Great. So this pink cushion is very hard to deal with. I like to pick him up with a thong. I don't like touching him at all. These little pink cushions get in your fingers, and they're very, very painful. So it's been living in here its entire life. I got this from Las Vegas probably about 3 years ago, and it's been living in this unicorn planter ever since. and I love animal planters. I'll do a separate video in the future sharing with you my animal planters. I think that'd be a fun video. Another cacti baby that I don't know the ID off the top of my head. I got this 3 years ago in Las Vegas, living in a white ice cream planter. So this is a plant baby that I got from Evelyn, one of my friends here in Los Angeles, and she gave me a cutting from her mom's plant collection in Long Beach. I don't know what it is, don't know the idea of it, but it's doing good and living in a terracotta plant. So I am here sitting on the ground to share with you what's in this corner here. I have euphorbias and an opuntia from Tanya, and if you haven't watched Meet My Plant Friend series, go ahead and do so. Tanya is my plant friend in Santa Monica. She has a lot of plant babies living in ground. These came from her mother plants that are living in ground in the front of her home. Very cool. Love her cacti garden. And then down here you'll see some opuntias that I got from my mother plant in Arizona. I have a bunch of them here. I try to not touch them. I do have a bunch that are in nursery planters on the right side of my greenhouse. I'll share that in a separate video. This is my struggling epiphyllum. I don't know, it's not happy right now. I think out of the whole plant collection in the front of my home, this is the one that's giving me the most drama. I got this particular epiphyllum from a nursery out in Bellflower, and I don't know, it's not happy. I was traveling for the last couple of weeks and I gave it some water today, so I'll keep you guys posted. I might have to put it back in a nursery planter and have it live in the greenhouse. So this is what's currently living in this corner. I could literally sit in front of my home all day and just tend to them, and I love going through my plant collection one corner at a time. I know my grandma does that for me as well. So this is what's living on the right section of the shelf. Here's another interesting baby that I had in my collection for 3 years or so. I believe this is a Sirius Monstros, and I got this from Las Vegas. I want to say for maybe under $7, and it's living in an IKEA planter. So far so good. My Sirius Monstros has been in my collection for about 3 years. Got it from Las Vegas for a couple of dollars. It's living in an IKEA planter. And then next to it, I brought out what's left of my devil's backbone. This was a plant gift for my birthday along with my peace lily from Catherine. So I've had this in my collection for a year now, and this is what's left of it. So I did have to take out a section the other day that did not look good, so hopefully these will do better in the front of my home. My devil's backbone was living in my patio up until literally like 2 days ago. I brought it out to the front of my home to hopefully get more sun exposure and maybe it'll do better. Next to it is my agave, and I've got this agave from Pasadena Roseville Flea Market from this vendor that I really like going to. You've seen him in my come with me's, and he's really cool. I actually got one of my grandicorn plant babies from there, as well as my Banto Sensation Sansevieria. So I got some agaves from him. My opuntia collection from Las Vegas and Long Beach. So I grouped them up together. I gave one to Catherine recently as a thank you baby. She took us to afternoon high tea, so I took one which actually lived right there and gifted it to her. So far so good. I love the hues of pinks throughout, and I just love the aesthetic of it. It's hairy, it's pink, it's growing different ways, so it looks super cute in the front of my shelf. So here's a really fun point of view. I love all of them, and I love the way how I styled them. So let's talk about what's going on in the midsection of the shelf. Let's talk about my big opuntia. This was actually another cutting that I got from Tanya, my plant friend here in Santa Monica. I hope to do her summer plant tour next week before I leave to the Philippines. And when she gifted me this cutting, I believe this 3 sections here were part of the mother plant. Everything else is new growth. Do you believe that? A bunch of my subscribers and plant friends has cuttings from this mother plant, but super cute, right? And I love how I styled him right in the center part of my shelf. I love the aesthetic of it. It's living in a Walmart planter. I want to say a crested ease needle, so maybe I could be wrong on the ID on that one. I'm gonna have to look it up, but this is what's left of it. So this is my crested ease needle. The hair is slowly growing back. It's living in a cute white elephant planter. Had this in my collection now for about 3 years. This grandicornis actually, I believe, came from the plant show last year that Catherine and I went to. and it's doing good, but you'll see right here, and I'll talk about it in a second. I do have another grounded cornice which I got from Pasadena Rose Bowl. I'll bring it up in a second. It's looking okay. I mean, it could look a little better, like maybe not so yellow, but this is what it looks like. And so far it has not grown on me, so I guess slow grower. But you will see, I will go ahead and purchase plant babies that I already have in my collection for X, Y, and Z reason. Here's my one moon cactus that my mom gifted me. I have it in a thrifted planter that I got in Arizona. I really love this planter, by the way, and it doesn't have a hole. I need to drill a hole in it, but I don't know. This is probably gonna take me forever to drill a hole in, but so far so good. I just water sparingly. And it is another euphorbia cutting. So again, I have a bunch of them spread throughout. I could gang them up in one planter, but I love seeing them spread out throughout the shelf. So another cutting from Tanya. My totem pole cactus cuttings that I got from the mother plant in Arizona. I have a few more that is in my greenhouse. These take forever to root up. There's probably no roots yet, so I try to not touch them. This was part of my top 10 cacti. I love the totem pole cactus. It's weird, it's interesting, it looks like pickles, there's no thorns on it. I've seen them a lot in Arizona, not so much here in California, and I love having them in my collection. It's living in a terracotta planter. I do have a couple more, again, living in my greenhouse, and I did give, I believe, all of my plant friends cuttings as well, so that's pretty cool. This is my very fun Joseph's coat, variegated, and ever since it's been living in my collection, there's more hues of pinks in it, and I love it. I think when I brought it home, which I want to say I got this from Pasadena Rose Bowl Flea Market, there wasn't much hues of pink, and then since I had it in the front of my home here amongst the rest of the plant babies, it is looking very cool with the variegation of pink and white in it. I try to not touch this plant baby because it's very fragile. As you can see, I have just his fallouts here on the side of the planters to hopefully grow into new plants. So I try to not touch him, and he has little pricklies on him. Malaria. So this is from Las Vegas, again in ice cream planter. Probably had this guy for 3 years. Very low maintenance. Another plant baby gifted from Catherine. I don't know what's going on with it. This is what the plant baby looks like from Catherine. As you can see, there's lots of babies in here. My beautiful Ripsalis, that, believe it or not, is in bloom for the first time ever in my collection. I seen this morning as I was getting ready to film this video. I was like, no way, look at the cute little blooms, isn't it darling? And I've been like looking on YouTube at resin videos, and I really want to resin art my blooms that come through my collection. Like when I think about my hybrid epiphyllum, I really wish I pressed those flowers and put it in resin. So stay tuned. I might go ahead and do that as an experiment with my blooms that come through my collection. Like, take a look at that. Wouldn't that be fun if I could like preserve that in resin? It could happen. So we'll see. I love DIY and crafts, so that might be a fun project to take my channel into a different avenue of plant life. So stay tuned, and also let me know in the comments below if you would love to see me resin some of my blooms. But take a look at it. Isn't it so cute? I got a bunch from one of my planters that had my euphorbia in, as well as some from Catherine. So I put both of them all together in this planter, and so far so good. I can't believe it. I've never had this Ripsalis bloom on me, and the blooms are so cute. Fairy Castle cactus. Really cool, right? And I believe my mom might have gifted this one to me. I know we have one in the Las Vegas collection in the kitchen for what few plants we have down there, and I love seeing the Fairy Castle cactus. I know when I last did a Come With Me with Kira in Las Vegas, she got one, but very fun cacti to have in your collection if you collect them. I love the clustered look to it and just the dimension. My variegated Indian corncob, very fun euphorbia. I don't know what's going on right here, if the camera can pick it up. There's like some small little baby growth there. Interesting, that's new. I love a variegated Indian corncob. I could easily get a bigger one, but I have this small guy. Probably got it from Las Vegas about 3 years ago. I see hues of pink on it, so It's loving the sun out here, again in an ice cream planter. So here are aeoniums, again, that I got from Plant Friends as I clean through the collection, as I talk about them. So this has been in my collection, I want to say for almost a year now. Almost a year. Plant cuttings from Arizona again. The cute planter as well came from Arizona, gifted to me. And you've seen this recently on my channel for top 10 succulents or largest succulents in my collection. I love having it in the front and center on the bottom of my plant shelf. Newest Grandicornis, and I got this one from the Pasadena Roseville Flea Market from my favorite plant vendor there, and I got the Banto Sensation, I believe, the same time. So it's kind of looking interesting, you know, it has some weird interesting vibes to it. I won't touch him ever because, as you can see, this is probably one of my most prickly babies in my collection. I have it in a Chinatown planter. Again, love these planters a lot. Slow growing, but he definitely has a lot of character to him. And again, I purchased him after my original one that I got from the plant show last year because it was bigger, and I just like the way how he's growing, so I got another one. So here is the left corner of my shelfie, and I love all corners of this shelf. Very cool. On the top section here is one of my newest babies that I got from this year's plant show. He looks like a Ripsalis, but he's not, and he's ID'd as a Sarcostemma stolonifera, like a Ripsalis, but it's not. I've been living on this plant shelfie as of today. I moved him out here because I think he's gonna love life living in more sunlight than in my patio. So it lives here. I love how it cascades on the second shelf. Another fun euphorbia that I got from Long Beach, one of my favorite nurseries in Long Beach, and I probably picked this up for maybe like $3 or so. Living in a terracotta planter, lots of blooms. It was featured on a Pot of Fame recently for giving me lots of growth. My Haworthia, one of them, and it's been living on this shelf as of today. It was living on my succulent shelfie its entire life, but I think it's gonna love life out here with more sunlight. Corner here is my Moroccan Mom, my very fun euphorbia, and actually this euphorbia was the mother plant that I gave Catherine a cutting of recently. So this is what the mother plant looks like. I've had it in my collection for, I want to say 3 years. Got it originally from Las Vegas. It's living in a Walmart planter, and it's been doing so good on me. It was living actually in my blue teacup. I don't know if you remember, a couple years ago it was living in the teacup in Las Vegas, and ever since I put it in this big white Walmart planter, it's just, it looks so good. I love it. I love seeing it as I walk into my home. I say epiphyllum that Tanya gifted me when I last went to her home to do a plant tour. So thank you, Tanya. A bunch of the plant babies in the front of my home are from her, which is pretty fun. Another fun pin cushion that I don't like touching, and this one is also from Las Vegas as well. Had this about 3 years ago in a thrifted planter. Here's another very fun euphorbia cutting that I got from Tanya as well. It's just living in a thrifted cup that my mom gifted me. I have them throughout my collection. Again, I love having euphorbia spread throughout the front section of my home. Back here is my beautiful San Pedro cactus that Kira and I did a split on. So this is what it's currently looking like. It's living in a planter that my best friend Diana, who's not into plants, gifted me. She's Romanian, love her so much. In this planter, San Pedro cactus is doing good. Slow grower, hasn't done anything while it's been living in my collection. So here's another agave that I got from Pasadena Roseville Flea Market from the same plant vendor. Got this sometime last year, 3 of them all together. One of them I pulled out from this area this morning because it wasn't looking that good. Another plant baby that I've had in my collection now for about 3 years, and I always forget the ID on him, but he's super cool. Love him a lot. I probably ID'd him on a previous video for our top 10, and it's living in a planter that I got probably from TJ Maxx Las Vegas. I love the aesthetic of terracotta and white. Wish I can find more of these planters, but so far so good. I don't know, I might have to, maybe I might put him in a terracotta planter, but for now I don't see him growing. He kind of looks the same since I purchased him 3 years ago. Plant cuttings from Tanya. So this is from her night blooming cactus. Actually, a bunch of my plant friends have cuttings from them. All of them have cuttings from Tanya's big mother plant living in the front of her home. She actually like sent me a picture that she had cut it back more, and if I wanted to pick up the cuttings, and I said yes. I didn't go by. Maybe when I go to her home next week, she still has them for me. But I ended up keeping 3 and I gave the rest away to all of my plant friends. You've seen it at Catherine's house, Carrie's house, Kira's house. It's everywhere, and I hope to have it bloom on me one day. It has a lot of aerial roots, and it's living in a Walmart planter, and you'll see throughout my collection my grandma puts pine cones in the planters to help them stay up if they need help. So that is all of the plant babies that are currently living in the front of my home on the shelf. Let's go ahead and move on to the last part of the video, which is all of the plant babies living right in front of my entryway. Here is the entryway to my space, which I'll talk about for today's video, and I'll save the rest for part 4 when I talk about everything living in my patio, which we're reorganizing right now for the plant tour. On the right part of my entryway of my home, I have my beautiful Kalanchoe that I rescued, my chocolate soldiers with Catherine. That was part of my $15 rescue with a bunch of other plant babies. So this was like the main reason why I wanted to get the particular one I got. And then back here you see my beautiful hybrid epiphyllum. And if you watch my Meet My Plant episode, this original planter that it was living in, I think it was a Walmart planter, fell when I was in the process of filming from heavy winds, and I can't believe it. Part of the plant got ruined, but I mean, just in general, the plant got ruined prior to before I even purchased it. And this was from San Gabriel, one of my favorite nurseries. And still then, even though with all the damage, it gave me lots of blooms this season, and I will go ahead and resin art attempt to when it blooms again on me, because I love the blooms a lot. And this is one of my Cressula ovatas, my jade plant that I got from my mother plant that got chopped down. If you watch my channel for that long, you know what I'm talking about. And then back here behind me is my original Cressula ovata that I spent $40 on in Las Vegas over 3 years ago, and it's doing good in my collection. So I love Cressula ovata, very fun, easy plant, and it also is a friendship plant or lucky plant, and I love having it throughout my collection, so I'm always propagating it. But these ones I won't touch. It's nice and full. Again, lots of new growth in this one. This is from my original mother plant that got chopped down, and then this is my original purchase Cressula ovata that I got over 3 years ago in Las Vegas. So looking at the left part of my entryway, you see all of the Cressula ovatas that my grandma potted up in the recent clean with me when she was going through my greenhouse. They're doing really good. And then down here is my Rick Rack Zigzag, and I love this one. I have like 4 of them. I love zigzag cacti babies. It's doing really good. This one is living in coco coir, and actually the top part of it had fell off, so it's propagating inside of my home. I'm gonna probably put it back in this planter in the next planting with Jewelyn. See Bob Marley doing very well. In time, when all of his fallen babies have propagated, I'm gonna redo the planter. So I talk about him a lot. He's one of my prize babies in my collection. I love trailing cacti babies, so this is one of my favorite priceless babies in my collection. On the bottom is fire sticks that I want to say I got from Catherine, if I'm not mistaken, and this planter was a gift from Kira, my plant friend in Las Vegas, as part of my birthday gift. You'll see my birthday begonias that she gifted me with this planter inside of my bathroom that we just put in there for my plant tour, so I'm looking forward to share that with the channel. But again, I wanted to bring my fire sticks outside because they do better in the sun. I want to see them stressed with red. This one is all green, so it's just living in the front of my home now. Hopefully I'll have more red in it. Beautiful euphorbia, which is one of my favorite. I love a variegated AMAC euphorbia, and 2 of my subscribers ended up getting the babies that came with this mother plant, which I didn't mind sharing. My Wilfin Sansevieras, I sold 2. I have 1 left. At the very end behind me are my elephant bush cuttings from Arizona from my mother plant. So I'm hoping that it'll do better in front of my home because it was living in my patio this whole time. So let's see. If not, it's gonna go back into the greenhouse. So I'm gonna end here with my 2 babies that are hanging on my wooden patio gate. I have my staghorn fern here living in coco coir in a coco liner basket. I DIY'd this and sprayed this white. If you watch my channel, you've seen the process of me putting him in here. The last plant that I want to talk about in today's video, this is my asparagus fern that I got from Las Vegas well over 3 years ago. When I look at it, I see it as a decorative weed. There's lots of thorns in here, so I try to not touch him. It's living in a planter that my grandma gave me as a gift in a macrame setup. So I just have 2 things hanging on the door: my staghorn fern, which I love seeing, and my asparagus. I hope you guys enjoyed part 1 of 4 of my summer 2019 plant tour, my quarterly series that I love putting out on the channel, so I can share with you what my collection is looking like, how I'm styling my plants, and just how my collection looks like throughout the year. So before I wrap up today's video, I wanted to talk about today's giveaway, and my giveaway rules are always the same no matter when it is or what it is. You have to be subscribed to both of my channels, I Love Jewelyn, Miss Jewelyn. Follow me on both of my Instagrams, _ I Love Jewelyn, Planting with Jewelyn. Below, don't forget to leave the country, city, state that you live in. What is your current favorite cacti baby that you have in your collection as of summer 2019? I would love to know in the comments below. I am going to be giving away some of my favorite things that I love having in my collection. So this is not the same exact pruners that I use on my channel, but very similar. The tip is just different, it's shorter. I have it in a pink handle with flower print on it, so great for pruning, propagating, as well as a mister. And you'll get one of my favorite white planters that you always see throughout my collection, and I love white planters. So no matter where you are in the world, you're more than welcome to enter the giveaway. The giveaway will be open for 1 week from the time the video goes live. I'll go ahead and pick a winner on my plant Instagram, and I'll go ahead and reach out to you on a direct message. All of the giveaway rules will be in the description box down below. That was so much fun to literally sit down and talk about all of my plant babies and how I'm styling them in the front of my home. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing what my plant collection looks like in the front of my home. There's been a handful of new babies that got integrated into the collection, and I love seeing them in the front of my home. And you can see how I style them and how I love displaying all of my sun-loving babies in the front of my home, which is where I get the most sunlight. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and love seeing where my collection looks like as of summer 2019. For part 2, 3, and 4 of my summer 2019 plant tour, I will be going ahead and sharing with you what's living in my bath for my next video. I hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with me, and thank you guys so much for supporting my channel. If you enjoyed this video, give this video a big thumbs up. If you're new, welcome to the channel. Hit the bell and subscribe button to be notified on my daily uploads. Until next time, aloha from Santa Monica, California. Bye!